Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to another Fallout 76 Weapon Spotlight. Today, we're going to break out the pistol character again and take a look at a two-shot explosive pipe revolver. This is an interesting weapon. There's a number of ways you can handle it. Today, we're going to take a look at it from a strict pistol build perspective and see how it does. As usual, we'll start out with looking at the weapon and my build, and as always, I'll put timestamps in the description so you can skip past that stuff if you're already familiar with it and you just want to jump into the action. Let's go ahead and get started by taking a look at the weapon. So here it is. In this case, it is a 2-star legendary. We've got the 2-shot effect and the explosive effect. So we've got, these are really two of the more desirable effects, one of the more desirable combinations of effects in the game. Now, you're not necessarily always hunting for them on a pipe revolver, but this is an interesting weapon for a pistol build because it's the only revolver in the game that you can put a suppressor on. So we can still take advantage of stealth to get a little bit of extra damage. As you can see on this one, we put the hardened receiver on so we can max out our damage. I also went with the true long barrel and true grip to help with hipfire accuracy and range. That is one of the drawbacks to a pistol or revolver build, is you don't get the kind of effective range that you get out of a rifle. So anything that extends that is good. And then of course I have a reflex sight, which will help with AP cost for VATS, and a suppressor so we can stay nice and sneaky. Now, one thing that is true with this weapon, it is still true that you can actually double dip on your perks. If you put a rifle stock on this, you can run rifleman perks and your gunslinger perks to get additional damage. I opted not to do that here because I think this one is unique for a pistol build in that it's the only revolver with a suppressor, and because with the new damage model that was introduced with One Wasteland, you get diminishing returns. So does it really make sense to dump a lot of perk points into that for what will ultimately amount to a very, very small increase in damage? And ultimately, I don't think it's worth it. So we're going to run this appropriately with a pistol build and see how it all works out. Next up, we'll take a look at mutations. On this character, I've got adrenal reaction, so I do more damage at low health. This is typically a bloodied stealth guerrilla build where that makes a lot of sense. Today, we are going to run this at full health. I want to see how effective a 2-shot weapon is, a 2-shot explosive weapon specifically is at full health. So while I'm not going to necessarily heal up every time I take a hit, we will get an idea here of how this performs with a full health build. I've also got bird bones and marsupial so I can jump high and land softly. Carnivore, so meat is more effective. Eagle eyes for better critical damage and better perception. That'll help with VATS accuracy, and it helps with, of course, critical damage, which is key for any pistol build. And then we've got Egghead for more intelligence, for more XP, which is certainly integral to this build, which is designed to be a high intelligence XP grinding build. And to round it all out, we've got healing factor to heal us up in between fights, scaly skin for some extra damage and energy resistance, and speed demon so we move faster and reload faster. Let's go ahead and take a look at legendary perks. First up, we've got ammo factory, which I have on all my characters. That is the least efficient way to use ammo factory, but I am very, very lazy, so I have no desire to put it on one character and swap all my materials around and swap ammo around. I simply lack the patience for that. So I have ammo factory on all my characters. Next up after that is follow through. This one's going to be important today. This one, for any stealth build, especially if you use slower firing weapons, it's very effective. Basically, after you land a sneak attack, your target will now take more damage for the next 10 seconds, depending on how high you've maxed this out. In my case, I've got it completely maxed out, so the target takes 40% more damage, which is very significant. After that, I've got legendary luck, so I can take more VATS critical perks. That's really the key there. And then we've got legendary perception for some more perception perks. And we round it all out with legendary endurance and legendary charisma. So again, we can take more perks in those categories. I've warned people before, don't do what I did with legendary charisma. What you want to do if you want more charisma is move points into that category and take something else as your legendary special perk. Unfortunately, when you max out charisma with your legendary perk, it doesn't actually let you share more perk cards. Hopefully that's something that gets fixed in the future, now that so many people have accidentally invested in it, like myself. But, learn from my mistakes. Let's move on to the special build and take a look at our perk cards. And here we've got our standard special build. I've got Strength at 4, Perception at 7, Endurance at 4, Charisma at 7, Intelligence, Agility, and Luck all maxed out at 15. So with Strength, I've got Bandolier, I've got Traveling Pharmacy, because why not? I've got the points in there, I might as well reduce weight and improve my quality of life. With this build, I'm not always running a full unyielding, low health build, so it helps me to keep my weight under control a little bit there. With Perception, we've got Tank Killer, which does apply to pistols. I've got Concentrated Fire maxed out, so I can target limbs more effectively with single shot pistols like this Revolver. If you're using an automatic weapon, you only really want to take 1 point now since they changed how it works, but with single shot weapons, it still makes sense to take all 3 points. And then I've got 1 in Crack Shot because I had a point there, I might as well use it on something. Under Endurance, I've got Fireproof, I've got Radicool, because normally, again, low health, lots of rads, more strength, just not today. I've also got Revenant, so if I get revived during a fight, I do more damage. Not going to be much of a factor today, but under normal circumstances, it's a good one to have. Under Charisma, I've got Tenderizer maxed out, so our targets take more damage after we attack. I've also got Lone Wanderer maxed out because I'm going to be running solo today, as I often do in these Weapon Spotlight videos. So that'll help me avoid damage and get a little bit better AP refresh. Intelligence is maxed out here. If you're doing a pistol build, you don't necessarily need to max out Intelligence. You could move those things somewhere else. For myself, I want to max it out because this is my XP grinding character. More often than not, I'm using a 10mm pistol, so I use cheap ammo. I can grind out XP and plow through the season rewards a little bit quicker that way. But what we've got here, we've got Nerd Rage, which is useless today because we're not going low health. Demolition Expert to max out our explosive damage. And Gunsmith to keep our weapon functioning a little smoother. But that doesn't actually help us today because we're using a pipe weapon. I don't usually use pipe weapons, so maxing out a durability card for that doesn't make a ton of sense. So really, the only one under Intelligence that's doing anything for us today is Demo Expert. But that's all right. This is how the game works. We have to have a build, and we can't just change every single thing about it every time. Under Agility, we've got that maxed out for better stealth. I've got Covert Operative for more powerful sneak attacks, Escape Artist to help me get out of trouble if I get detected, and then I've got 1 point in Sneak because, well, we're not running low health unyielding. We don't have 75 million agility points today, so a little bit of help there isn't a bad thing. And then you can see here with Gunslinger, I've got that mostly maxed out because I want to do as much damage as possible. I've also got 2 points in Adrenaline, so as we take on bigger mobs, we'll get some damage increases there. I'd still personally really like to see the pistol damage perks fall under Perception instead of Agility, because I think we're making some sacrifices here that we shouldn't have to, that make pistols kind of a subpar build to begin with, but I digress. Finally, we round things out with Luck, where I've got Starch Genes and Class Freak so I can keep my mutations and reduce their negative effects. I've got Serendipity, so if my health does fall really low, it's going to help me avoid damage. We've got Bloody Mess for extra damage, and then kind of a hodgepodge of VATS critical related perks to help us get more criticals. I'm kind of experimenting with different VATS critical perks on different characters in my off-camera time right now. I think ultimately I'll settle on kind of a final setup there that I really like, but for now, this gets the job done. All right, enough chit-chat. Let's get over to the Whitespring and start killing some ghouls. Okay, making our way into the golf club as we often do. We'll skip over these tin cans so I don't feel like I have to run back for them if I get killed. And here you can see I'm highlighting torsos. 2-shot kills get the job done. Sometimes 1 shot. All depends if we get lucky and get a critical. Not bad so far. And the reason I'm doing that is because with a 2-shot weapon, you do pay a pretty significant accuracy penalty. So when you try to target heads, you end up missing a lot, as you can see here. So, you know, it's one of those things where, yes, your headshot is more effective, but if you're taking 2 shots or 3 shots anyway just to be able to hit, well, you might as well land 2 shots on the torso and get the job done quicker. That makes sense to me. And as we build up adrenaline, you can see too that we start to do a little more damage. So 2 shots there, not bad. With a weapon that fires slowly like this one, I'd like to see more 1-shot kills, but that's part of the drawback to 2-shot. Is if this was a bloodied weapon or an anti-armor weapon or an executioner's weapon, we wouldn't have that accuracy penalty. And in all likelihood, I'd be able to more effectively target the head, which would make for more efficient kills and higher damage. But because we can't do that, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to do it. We're just going to take a lot more shots and put ourselves at higher risk. So that's my thinking, at least at this point in our little adventure today. So yeah, a little more damage there. Would have been a 1-shot kill. Maybe if I had a little more room to max out adrenaline, because if my perks were under perception instead of agility, we'd be able to do that. But yeah, you get my point here. A rifle build, that's one of the reasons that commando and rifleman build are so effective, because they have those perks in different places. You can max out more and take better advantage of that, where with a pistol, you can't. Now there we kind of saw follow through in effect, and now we're getting mobbed. All right, let's get ourselves out of trouble here. There we go. Oh, we got another legendary, and we're detected again. Come on. Okay, now we got to take on this Wendigo. Let's get to the head. We're going to go for the head here. Hopefully we survive. Uh-oh, broken armor. This is bad. This is bad. All right, one last headshot. Okay, so going back to what I was talking about with follow through, you can see how that first shot took not quite half of the damage bar from the enemy where it triggered, and then the second shot took the whole bar. That's that increase in damage from follow through. Most of the time with squishy enemies like ghouls, you'll find that's not really a big factor. Now here, you can see as I'm going around, I'm still highlighting the head. I'm in very close quarters, so it's not too hard to get those shots, but you can definitely see the difference. If you can target heads effectively, you can do a lot more damage, but consistently, I'm just not sure that's the way to go. I don't know. We'll play around with it here as we go and see what works and what doesn't. We've got a couple more ghouls hanging out outside the club. 2 more here. What do we have? Head. Okay. Maybe I underestimated it a little bit. As long as I can get close, it's not too bad. But that VATS hit chance was still really low. Let's head on over to the deep and see how we do against some commies. All right, walking the catwalk to commie land. What do we find here? We've got some liberators. And liberators, your prime target in VATS is the head. So not really a major loss there, but we're still seeing that we need 2 shots to take them down. And let's get a little closer to our communist friend here. There's that low VATS hit chance again, but okay, we got it. Now remember, when you see the damage numbers pop up on a 2-shot weapon, those are usually 2 projectiles directly on top of each other. So even though that number looks a little small, it's actually 2 of those. That 101 is really 202. So that's not, it's a little bit disingenuous. But so far, so good. If we're targeting heads, we're all right. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe I underestimated a little bit. We'll see if moving to the head pays off or if we need to move back to the torso. So once again, we see if we get a little closer, the headshots are okay. So we'll keep doing that for now. 1-shot kills if we're on the head. That's the key with this weapon. So we got to get close to get that, though. So there's a little bit of a trade-off there. I don't love that trade-off. I'd like to have a little more range. And we're in danger. That's going away. Now we're back in caution. We should get our sneak critical back. And there we go. Okay, missile sniper down. And we got a level up. That's always nice to see. Let's go ahead here. And we've got 2 commies running around the corner, thinking they're looking for me, but they're running right past because I'm just too sneaky for all of them. So there we had a headshot miss. And we'll go to the torso here. Back to the head. There we go. All right, so that was not too bad. Let's run back inside and finish taking out the trash. So do we stay on the head? Do we move to the torso? We'll stay on the head for now, but yeah, you can see here with a little bit of distance and a little bit of movement, it is harder to hit them. But once we get a little bit closer, that becomes easier. Do a little bit of a jump shot there, kill off that legendary enemy, pick up some script. That's always good. That's a weapon is very good for being 15 script. Helps me keep my stockpiles high so I can keep making script videos. We'll just try and sneak up to the top of the steps, and here's our power armor. Commander with his plasma. And it didn't look like one shot was going to kill him, but apparently it did. Okay, I'll take it. Don't gotta tell me twice. All right, so our headshots are doing okay here. Looks like there's one more we missed back down the stairs. Let's head back down there and clean up. There we go. Okay. All right, and heading on over to Solomon's Pond, we will take on a Behemoth. Let's see how we do here. Can we maintain the headshot rule? Do we switch back to the torso? So here, I want to land a torso shot because now we got a sneak critical, which means we're going to do more damage with each shot. And we're missing some of these headshots, but okay, not bad. Not too bad. It's a slow firing weapon. So we got to be a little bit careful, but overall, that wasn't too bad. We had to make sure we stayed hidden, but overall, just fine. Let's jump to the Fissure site. Now, this could be a little bit of a challenge because the Scorchbeast tends to fly pretty far away, and we don't have a ton of range on this weapon. So we might find this to be a little more challenging than usual. We'll pop a Rad-X diluted so I'm not just soaking up rads. And you can see here, we're still pretty close to full health. Shouldn't be enough to make any significant difference in the damage, and maintaining those headshots, okay, it's easier than I thought it was going to be. And if we maintain those, we're doing pretty well in terms of damage, at least when VATS counts. There we go. So 2 headshots on a level 100 isn't crazy. Level 75 takes 1. Looks like we've got a couple more around here. Hopefully the Scorchbeast grabs my attention, or I grab its attention. Did get a shot on it there, so hopefully that helps. So we're not just sitting here waiting around all day for him to land. There we go. Okay, and yeah, a little bit of delay there in the damage actually calculating. Now we caught up. Okay, there should still be 1 or 2 Scorched running around here, but if we can get shots on the Scorchbeast, we're going to take them. So let's see where we're at here. There's our Scorched Annihilator. He's dead now. No, not quite. Almost. And we're on the torso. But that's okay. So tight spots like that, I like that we can go to the torso and just pop them off quickly. Now we'll go back to the head on the Scorchbeast. We're doing decent damage here. Scorchbeasts are fairly tanky. It is a level 75 Scorchbeast, so... Okay, I'm not sure what dance you're doing here, Scorchbeast, but, you know, it's very entertaining. It's very entertaining for everyone, as is your death. Let's jump to Huntersville and see how we do against the Super Mutants. As usual, we'll spin around and take down the floaters. Get a couple of headshots, and that seems to do the job. Just try and stay out of the way of their elemental effects. We don't need to be cryoed or poisoned or burned to death. But that was fairly straightforward. A couple of headshots takes them down, and that's the stealth kicking in there. I've tested other revolvers, and they have not been this good. We had the one from the New Steel Dawn quest line, that 2-shot explosive revolver, and because you can't put a suppressor on it, you can't effectively sneak with it, which makes it a whole lot harder to use. So let's see how we do against the super mutants. Okay, we landed one on the torso, and now we can see here again, we're getting a lot of misses on the head. That's what I was afraid of there. Super mutant heads are a little harder to hit than some other enemies because of the armor they have on their back that can block the shot. So we might be better off just going with torsos here. 3 shots, it's not ideal, but it's not that bad. It's not unreasonable to think you would need to shoot a gigantic thing like a super mutant in the torso. What was that? Okay, well, that's fine. And what do we have here? We have a critical, torso, almost half, and their follow-through really came through for us there. Finished off the enemy. And he regenerated before that could be a factor. Okay, come on, one more. There we go. And what do we have here? Anything interesting? A Stalker's Pipe Revolver. With explosive again. Okay. Well, you know, that would absolve some of the two-shot accuracy issues, but here again, we can see we're landing these sneak attacks, and the follow-up shot is finishing off the enemy because we're making them take so much more damage. So that is really, really helpful here. So I expect that we'd be doing double taps with headshots here anyway. So we can see here that using that legendary perk, targeting the torso instead, while we're probably not doing as much damage as we would, we're still killing them in 2 shots. So 6 of one, half dozen the other. I can't really complain about that. On enemies where headshots are easier, then maybe it makes sense to go for the head, but so far on the super mutants, I think I'm pretty content shooting them in the torso. And we'll just run down the road to the other end of town after I run smack into that wall. No big deal there, just another wastelander running around blindly. Should be 2 more super mutants and a hound down this way. See what we can do without VATs here. Okay. Well, we did a little bit of area damage to the hound. And a little bit to the super mutant warlord. And yeah, this, ladies and gentlemen, is why I use VATs. I'm just not good at this. I am on my Xbox character, so I'm using a controller, so my manual aim is far worse than it would normally be on PC with a mouse and a keyboard. But that's really, it's not that much better with a mouse and a keyboard. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Okay, let's talk conclusions. So what are my overall thoughts on this weapon? Well, it took a little bit of getting used to. I made some assumptions in the beginning that may have been unfounded about its accuracy. But ultimately, in the end, when it came to the super mutants, it did make a little bit of sense to revisit some of that thinking where the torso became a much easier shot than the head. And by using follow-through, we weren't really losing out on anything anyway. It's not going to be the case among all types of enemies, so that's kind of cool, actually. A weapon like this that requires a little bit of thought and a little bit of strategy to use effectively, that's kind of fun. So I like that. I like the fact that it's a revolver, but it has a suppressor. That's missing in most of the game. Now, that's not crazy. It's not typical to suppress a revolver, so it's no great oversight that that was left out, but I do think it's cool that we have that ability here to create kind of a makeshift suppressor and have a revolver that we can use in stealth that still hits pretty hard. So comparing this to the Fact Finder that we get from Steel Dawn, which is another 2-shot explosive revolver, I'll take this over that because I can suppress it, which gives me an advantage in terms of damage because I can use a stealth pistol build, albeit not quite as optimal as a stealth rifle or stealth commando build would be. It's still pretty cool to be able to do that. So overall, I like the weapon. Is it going to be my everyday go-to choice? Probably not, but as you can see, you can do some pretty good damage with it even at full health. So a weapon like this, not a bad find if you can get your hands on one. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to bring us to the end of today's video. But before we go, I have a request for you. So in all of my Weapon Spotlight videos, I always make it a point at the beginning to lay out my build and give you points you can skip through And from looking at the YouTube data, I can see that a lot of people do watch that part, and also a lot of people do absolutely skip over it. It's probably about a 50-50 split. So my question for the viewers here that have watched to the end, who I think are probably the ones who are most invested in my channel, my question to you is, I'm going to keep that where I go over the build, but do you think it's better that I do that at the beginning of the video, or do you think it would make more sense to move that to the end and just let people know at the beginning that after we do the testing, they can view the build and all that information? So far, things have been working out fairly well with these videos, so I'm not sure I want to fix it if it's not broken, but maybe it would be better if we did it that way. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Beyond that, if you enjoyed this, if you want to see more, be sure to go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, leave any other kind of comment you like, and I will see you all next time. Till then, I'm Fisty McRib.